There's a moment you probably know too well. The moment you hear yourself saying, "I'm sorry," even when you didn't do anything wrong. Someone bumps into you, you apologize. Someone else forgets something, you apologize. Someone reacts badly to their own mistake, you still apologize. And afterward, in the quiet of your mind, you wonder, why am I like this? Why do I apologize for things that aren't even my fault? You try to stop, you tell yourself you'll speak differently next time, but the word slips out like a reflex you can't control. You apologize to avoid tension, to keep peace, to make sure no one is upset with you. And here is the part you don't admit out loud. You not apologizing because you guilty. You apologizing because you afraid of conflict. Afraid of disappointing someone. Afraid of taking up space you were never taught you deserve. If that sentence feels uncomfortably true, stay, because this habit has a psychological logic, a history, and once you understand it, something inside you might finally untangle. It usually begins in childhood, in the unspoken moments where your nervous system learned that safety depends on keeping the peace. Maybe you grew up in a home where anger appeared without warning, where emotions were unpredictable, where someone's mood could shift the entire atmosphere of the room. Maybe you learned that staying small and agreeable helped you avoid blame. Maybe you were surrounded by people who didn't take responsibility for their own actions, so you took it for them. Or maybe caretaking became your survival strategy, the way you earned approval, affection, or just a little calm in the chaos. Slowly, your brain created a rule. If I apologize first, everything stays safe. Psychologists call this fawning, a trauma-informed survival response where you sacrifice your needs and boundaries to keep others comfortable. This isn't weakness, it's adaptation. As you grow older, the pattern becomes automatic. You apologize for being tired, for asking a question, for not responding fast enough, for taking up space, for having feelings. You say sorry when someone interrupts you. You say sorry for speaking at the wrong time. You even apologize when someone hurts you because you worry their discomfort is somehow your responsibility. This constant self-blame creates an internal belief that your existence needs to be justified, softened, made non-threatening. So every time tension rises, even slightly, your instinct is to shrink yourself, smooth the edges, and take the blame before anyone can place it on you. Not because you did something wrong, but because your brain thinks blame will keep you safe from conflict. The emotional cost is heavy. You start to feel invisible because every sorry chips away at your sense of self. You downplay your needs, silence your opinions, swallow your feelings, and slowly erase your own presence. You begin to believe that asserting yourself equals inconvenience, that honesty equals conflict, that boundaries equal rejection. You become the person who avoids upsetting anyone even if you're hurting, the person who forgives too quickly, the person who accepts blame to avoid being abandoned. And even when people tell you, you don't have to apologize, you still do, not because you want to, but because you don't know another way to exist. But here's the truth. Your instinct to apologize was born from fear, not fault. It was a strategy, not a character flaw. And healing doesn't mean erasing the instinct. It means giving yourself a new place to stand. It begins with a small pause, catching the moment before "I'm sorry" slips out. In that pause, ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong? Often, the answer is no. Next, replace the reflex with truth. Instead of "sorry I'm late," try "thank you for waiting." Instead of "sorry for asking," try out a question. Instead of apologizing when someone else makes a mistake, practice silence. Let the responsibility return to its rightful owner. These tiny shifts retrain your nervous system to understand that safety doesn't come from self-blame. It comes from self-respect. Over time, you begin to feel a new balance. You realize that taking up space isn't a threat, that having needs doesn't make you difficult, that setting boundaries doesn't make you unlovable. And slowly, the apologies become intentional instead of automatic. You apologize when you're genuinely at fault, not when you're simply afraid, and that shift changes everything. You start to feel more grounded in conversations, more confident in your presence, more real in your relationships. You stop cushioning the world with your self-blame and start showing up as someone who knows they deserve to exist without shrinking. If this touched something inside you, stay a little longer. There's more here, more clarity, more language for the patterns you've carried alone. Subscribe if you want a place where your inner world is understood and honored. And if this helped even a little, share it with someone who apologizes too much, Someone who deserves to feel safe without shrinking.